At East Tennessee Children's Hospital, we know that time is precious, but some times are better than others. That's why we have 4 urgent care facilities with pediatric experts ready to get you back to better in no time.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for checking in with your afternoon weather update on this beautiful Saturday. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It was a nice, comfortable start, but look at this, just clear skies. Now we're starting to get a few fair weather cumulus clouds starting to develop around the area. That's really going to be the story throughout the day today. We're really not looking at much in the way of rain. Thank goodness for that. We've had rain showers almost every weekend for quite some time now, and a lot of severe weather this year. So first weekend of summer, we're going to take a break. We're going to enjoy it, but you got to practice heat safety. Sunscreen, right? The sun angle's coming up. Summertime, sunburn city. You don't want to go back to work on Monday with a nice toasty sunburn, do you? For the rest of the afternoon, just kind of nitpicking the forecast. Not a lot of activity. Now, we can't rule out maybe an isolated stray shower, a few rumbles of thunder, but the general idea is it's going to be diurnally driven, driven by the heat of the day. We've got enough instability in the atmosphere, just a little bit, enough moisture to produce the fair weather cumulus clouds, and if we can get one to develop a little bit, we may get a stray shower. I think the general idea is most of that activity will probably be over into the mountains of North Carolina. Keep this in mind if you're going to be up across the national park, maybe hiking Mount LeConte, Clingman's Dome, Cades Cove. May see an isolated stray shower there. And across the southern Cumberland Plateau, maybe a stray shower. We don't have a lot of wind in the atmosphere, so they would develop, just kind of rain themselves out. They're not really going to move very quickly or very far, so I'm not expecting much in the way of rain in the valley. So here at the lunch hour, we're in the mid-80s. We're on our way into the low 90s, a toasty, roasty summer day here around town, but it doesn't stop there. Remember, we had the cold front come through, so dew points have dropped just a little bit, but they're starting to come back up. And so therefore, this expansive heat index map is looking, well, I should say more expansive than what it did yesterday. So most of the valley locations will be in the low, maybe a few pockets of mid-90s closer to Chattanooga, but the dew points are going to continue to climb. That ridge of high pressure builds on in. So heat index trend is going to be climbing. Heat advisory criteria is 105 degrees here in Knoxville. We're going to be pushing close to heat advisory criteria Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we'll see what the National Weather Service does. And of course, they issue the watches and warnings. I'll just pass that information along. It's going to be super sticky, almost like the Gulf Coast. Not quite as humid as the Gulf Coast, but definitely darn close. And the heat's building because of this ridge of high pressure. Look at this, all the way up into Canada, the Northeast, and then just kind of lingers like a bad date, right? Just lingering around the area. That's going to produce the heat. Now, here's the other side of the story. The reason why we're going to heat up every single day is we're going to start to lose moisture in the soil, right? So once the soil starts to dry out a little bit, the air temperature will come up a little bit, even though dew points are coming up, despite the fact that the ground's going to dry out. So I don't typically put in 10%. But the fact of the matter is we actually do every single day, probably the mountains and the plateau, have a chance for an isolated stray shower thunderstorm, which you can see from the Weather Prediction Center. The general forecast, rainfall forecast anyways, for the next 7 days. This is a change from what we've seen over the last couple of months, right? So it's going to be nice to have a dry pattern, but just don't be caught off guard if you see an isolated afternoon shower or storm. So just plain hot, just plain sunny, a few afternoon clouds, not a lot of rainfall in the forecast, and temperatures in the low to mid-90s. Don't forget to scan the QR code right here in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Download the East Tennessee Weather app. I know it's not going to be raining, but you want to check in to help protect you from heat safety, UV index, of course, and check in with those daily forecast weather updates from time to time. We sure hope you have a great day. I'll see you back here at 6.